Hey guys, Tarke Cat here, and for today's totally festive... Oh, my hat's fallen off. Whoops. For today's totally festive Christmas episode, we are collecting... Oh no, that's awful. Alright, I'll just say that. We are collecting trials and slowly progressing through the acts. Some of you may say, but Tarke, I thought Christmas already happened, to which I would reply, time zones. To which some of you might reply, I don't think that's how time zones work. In which case, I would reply, yes, it is. And we're not going to keep that going. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Haven't played PoE since the last episode. Haven't played anything since the last episode. I've had a pretty boring few days. Doing family things. Looking after the grandmother, looking after the mother. A little bit of goss, which I'm curious in your guys' input for. There has been a new development in the family dynamic that we're currently trying to resolve. So a little bit of backstory. My uncle, without going into too much... Oh, I need to pick that up. Superior. My uncle isn't very well mentally. He's 52. He's gone on Tinder. And he's fallen for a 35-year-old Russian model who lives in Russia and is currently saving money to move to the UK. Now, love knows no bounds. Love knows no barriers. Love does know some scams, though. And we're currently trying to politely raise the fact to my uncle that this may or may not be, unfortunately, the love story which he might expect. I don't know if anyone has had any similar experiences, either themselves, close friends, or family. How does one navigate such a conundrum? Because so far it's not been going well. Not been going well. Lovely Santa. It is indeed. Doesn't fit particularly well. Does fall off now and again. But I am rather fond of it. I should grab that. I forgot what benevolent fountains do, but we're going to do that. Let's get into that. So, dokie. Okie dokie. I believe it just, like, it's as good heals. People don't want to admit they've been fooled. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's also with one of those things like that, especially with certain topics, the more you kind of try and convince someone that, like, it's a bad idea, or, like, they're wrong, the harder they buy into it. So, yeah. We had a bit of a tense, Christmas lunch. Try and sit in the right direction. If that fails, try and advise the bank. That fails. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the bank, going down the bank route maybe isn't the worst thing. So you had to do the family friend. Oh, that's rough. It is amazing how common those scams are, though. Like, I know someone who got screwed by a crypto scam, similar vibe, not that long ago. And it was, they started talking to some hot model, because of course they did, on, I think, Twitter or something. And then, after a couple of weeks, she started offering him crypto advice. So then he buys into some cryptos, does okay. Then the really big investment comes along, and then he lost like 10 grand. Good vibes, good vibes. Yeah. Not good, not good. Oh, God. The fire trap AoE is slightly painful. I don't know what's more painful. Scamming or crypto... Sorry, crypto scamming or the AoE of my fire trap. But both are rather sad states of affairs. I really want a support gem. I want a support gem for Christmas. I want a support gem. I also kind of want a... I was So if people said, why aren't you playing Corsica? Like, surely you should be playing Corsica. And I was like, dude, Corsica and Ruthless would be awful. I kind of want to try it. If I get a Corsica, I'll try and make it work. But, like, it would be absolutely horrific and Ruthless. There we go. It's mostly the lack of wither. I suppose you could make an occultist to get around it that way. I don't like how this costs... Are there 5 coins in the previous floor that I missed? I feel like that shouldn't cost... Oh, if only there was a supermodel offering me 5 Aura's coins right now. Oy. Oy. Staple down some crypto. Yeah, I mean, with all that, so it's like the same thing with like the stock crash we had. It doesn't help as well that just a lot of people are really struggling at the moment. I don't know what it's like in like other countries, but the UK, I mean, I think most countries are struggling right now, but like the UK is such a mess. We've got like huge... Can I backtrack into the previous? No, I can't backtrack into the stream. We've got huge problems with like all the food is going up. Our energy prices are going... I mean, everything's just going on. You can't even buy eggs. As silly as it sounds, when you can't buy eggs, it's like, my dude. Can't even get eggs. Whole of Europe is a mess. Energy prices are... Yeah. You know. I mean, at least some countries put caps on it, but... we have got an amazing clip. I know that you guys love it when I talk politics. So our unelected Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, not to be confused with our previous unelected Prime Minister, Liz Truss, there is an amazing clip. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Him feeding people at a homeless shelter. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so... I might actually have to... after this room, I'm going to find you the clip. Because it is genuinely one of the greatest pieces of television I have ever seen. Sup? Hope you're doing well, Rex. I like his ice crash. Let's go. Okay, let me just quickly find you something. Because this is genuinely amazing. Hello, streamer. Hello. Nice RuneScape name there. Rishi Sunak, homeless shelter. Do you work in business? So good. So good. Okay. Are you guys ready for the joy? And when I say joy, I mean like desperation. Like... Actually, this will hurt your mental well-being. So again, this is our Prime Minister that we didn't elect.
Morning. I'm alright, how are you? Yeah, that's right, I'm Rishi. What's your name? Dean. How are you? Hungry?
A little bit of update. For anyone who missed it. PM, homeless man. This is meant to be a fluff PR piece of the PM feeding homeless people at a homeless shelter for Christmas.
Well, this is where we're getting some good breakfast. Thank you. Now, would you like sausages? Some toast? Perfect. A couple of eggs? Fantastic. Now, you've been here before, have you? I have, yeah. Yeah, it's a great place, isn't it? Yeah, it's a superb job. Right, that's that. That's some cutlery. Let me get... Would you like what you cutting me out? Well, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. Exactly what I'm trying to do. There's the business. What do you have? Do you work in a business? Do you want some fruit?
No, I'm homeless. I'm actually a homeless person, but I'm interested in business.
Yeah, what kind of business?
Like finance is good for the city, and when finance and stuff do well, we'll do well in London. So
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So I used to work in finance, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did lots of different things, but you're right. Because I think the good thing now is it's not just London. You look at all the jobs in finance around the UK, the majority of them are outside of London now.
Yeah.
So it's spread across the UK.
The law and the associated.
Yeah. Is that something you'd like to get into?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. But I don't know. I'd like to get through Christmas first.
Yeah. What's the plan? What are you doing this weekend?
No idea. I'm hoping that the St Mungo's can help me get into some temporary accommodation, so I'm not.
Don't ask a homeless person at a homeless shelter at Christmas what their plans for the weekend are. What do you think their plans for the weekend are, my guy? What do you think the plans for the weekend are? Are you in business? Try and stay warm. Try and stay dry. Like...
Barricade, slay them.
God, I didn't do as much damage as I did last time I did this thing.
I command the waxen one. You shall fall.
Pew, 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 pew. I want a relic. Oh, that clipped me. I don't like it when he gets near the, Oh, that's convenient. Honestly, I don't like it when he gets near the edges, but he then jumps into the middle of the arena for
Your
me.
will is weak. It's almost endearing.
Ooh, we got a relic and we got 3 rare. Yes. Same on face of work to volunteered at home jobs for a few years. New so called what was last time to do with their current address. Well, that's the biggest issue that you have. Is as soon as you don't have an address, you're screwed because so many things require an address to do anything. I've actually had a very limited +1 lightning gems 45 fire dot multi. Interesting. A very minor version of this. Inspiration style. That's kind of cool. So my passport expired. And because I'm broke, I've just been delaying just getting a new passport. Because it's also a situation of like, you know, I'm not going anywhere. There's been COVID and everything. Like, I'm not being... So I'm like, I don't need a passport. But my passport's the only ID I have. So the only ID I have right now is an expired passport. Right? It's obviously not ideal. And the amount of things that you cannot do if you don't have valid ID is quite a lot of things. Like, most things. And I was like, well, what I'll do is, I'll get a provisional driver's license, because that's cheaper than getting a new passport. It's the difference, like, a new passport like 80 quid, and a provisional driver's license like 35 or something. But you can't get a provisional driver's license without a valid ID, such as a passport. And obviously, this is a much, much more minor version of the, like, trouble you have if you don't have a fixed address. But, like, it just kind of goes to show that you're fucked, you know? As soon as you don't have that one thing, it's like, oh, you can't do anything, like, you can't apply for any of these jobs, you can't prove who you are, you can't get bank accounts, you can't get this, you can't get that, and you're just like, you're fucked. 3-link, but I'm gonna keep that. What if you're a minor? What do you mean? Minors can have passports, what? Also, I'm 30 in 2 months. Well, yeah. February. Feels good, man. Sorry, I had to figure out you get your birth ID. Oh. So we have, you have your birth certificate, which most people have access to. You might have a national, like, identification number, which will be on your birth certificate. Generally with that, again, I don't know because I don't have any young children. It would be a situation of... Actually, are there any young parents, or, sorry, parents of young children who've recently had to apply for IDs for that they would know? But I'm imagining it's a situation that the way that you would get, like, the first passport for the child is, yeah, you would need their national identification number or something of their, like, birth certificate or something. And then obviously you've got your own ID. And then in the UK as a minor, you get a password and the birth certificate and ID from your parent. Yeah, I assumed it'd be something like that. Yeah. And I imagine it's probably similar things in other countries. I know in some countries it's illegal not to carry ID. You had to do it for our son. We went to Germany his 4th birthday to see his grandparents. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people who get really surprised when I tell them that I don't have a valid ID that I carry around. They're like, what? But yeah, if you don't drive, then yeah, you don't really have much. I think I applied for photo IDs in because I wanted to jump at 14. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, God. I'm going to save up and get driving lessons in the new year, though. Because for me, it was... I never... Did I pick up a cloth belt? I may as well. So for me, it was... I actually was someone who was really into the idea of driving as a teenager. But I had a really bad moped crash when I was 15, 16. I drove a moped straight into a wall. Technically was... I've told the story before. Technically wasn't my fault. My grandmother's ex-partner used to repair old motorcycles. And we were in Spain... in like this big field with lots of like, it was like olive terraces. So there's loads of olive trees and lots of small terraced walls. And he'd repaired this old bike from like the 50s or something. And it was a Bantam, if you know old motorcycle brands. Anyway, he'd repaired this old Bantam motorcycle. And the chassis on it was really stiff, and I'm like 15, 16. I'd messed around a little bit on bikes before, but I'm not like an experienced driver or anything. And it's off-road, like there's no pavements or anything. We're on a really bumpy olive field. He's like, oh, do you want to mess around? And I'm like, sure. And then he didn't tell me that it couldn't really turn right before I got on it. And that it was like, you really had to, like, with your full weight, really crank it to get it to turn right. So I'm messing around and it's going fine. And then I'm going towards this wall, and there's a massive olive tree on my left. So if you're going towards a wall in front of you, and there's a massive olive tree on your left, what are you going to try and do? You're going to try and turn right. But it wouldn't turn right. And I went straight into the wall. Fortunately, because the wall was at like waist height, the front of the bike hit the wall, the back wheel went up, and I just got thrown over it. And I got like a bit grazed, but I came out of it pretty much fine. And that just kind of put me off. It kind of just put me off. The whole like driving thing for a while. Because it was around that time when you're like 16, 17 that people are getting like their provisional licenses and they're like, you know, learning to drive and all that stuff. And it really put me off. And then I got into the whole streaming and YouTube thing when I was like 19, 20, 10 years ago now. So I just never needed it. But, yeah. And that is why I don't drive. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna get lessons and learn in the new year because it gives you a lot more options. Oh, a rustic such does give you a lot more options. Right, rare item maybe, perhaps rare of the item. And also, I'm trying to get into dog walking as a profession, and a lot of the time you kind of need a car for that to do pick up and drop off. Like, it's fine if you're doing just local things, because if you're doing just local things, you can just walk there. But that quite limits your client base. I'm not using a portal scroll. I'm using a portal scroll when I can take this waypoint. Whew. Whew. This is Ruthless and Nopers. It's true.
How you doing?
It is in fact Ruthless Nopers. Alright, I need to save that. That's gonna sell. So what, keeping for the fired up multi? It probably is, to be honest. It might actually, I might actually do more damage, the damage over time aspect, than with my current hit base. I might try that. Yeah. Actually, let's... It really need that slacking trap. Alright, let's... I need to equip that. Let's have a look, see if this feels like we're getting more dippers. It didn't do anything. Well, it's burning. I mean, he's fire resistant, so, you know, it's not fair. It's not a fair comparison. We'll have to find something else. Maybe the hit base is better. If only we could merge the 2 stars. Dave. Whew. I mean... Problem is the AoE is so tiny. For the dot base to feel... Like, that's okay, but you need that nice AoE. Which you don't really have right now. Maybe it's a weapon swap kind of vibe. Where we, I don't know how the snapshotting on that works. I don't know if you can use... I think it... Oh, there used to actually be a weird thing with snapshotting traps. I don't think they fixed... No, they didn't fix it. There's a thing that you can do... I have a video on this. Where you can have... It's really annoying. Okay, I should just explain how it works. Okay, it's very irritating to do. So... Yeah, in one weapon... You do, like, fire trap, cluster trap, multi-trap. And then you weapon swap. So you throw it, and before it lands, you then weapon swap into a damage setup. And it snapshots the damage links. And it throws, like, 6 out at once. I have a video explaining how it works. Merry Christmas. It's really, really annoying to do. It's like one of the most frustrating things in the world to do because you're just constantly hammering weapon swaps. So it's not particularly fun. But it is very effective. It's very effective, but it's annoying. Do you hear about the shop assistant that fought for armed robber with a labeling gun? Apparently police are now looking for a man with a price on his head. Pretty good, Cam. It's pretty good. I'll give you that. It's definitely up there. Old weapon. Yeah, it's similar vibes. And it's technically against TOS as well, so it's like there are ways that you can automate it. with like macroing, but then when you macro, it's definitely against TOS. But yeah, I made a video about it a couple of years ago. It was before the announcement of PoE2, because I remember before I published a video, I sent it to Chris, and he was like, we're working on something which will fix this. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then like a month or two later, there was the announcement. And then I'm like, oh, I guess that does technically fix that, because the way the gems will work now. But obviously, that was like... Oh god, it's been 3 years. So what is time? What is time? Oh my god, it's been 3 years since they announced that. Jesus Christ. You know what I'm really looking forward to, though? Baldur's Gate 3. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is probably my most anticipated video game. And the problem I had with Baldur's Gate 3, because I played quite a lot of the early access, is it's ruined so many video games to me. Because I really like CRPGs, but the quality of just like that half of Act 1 is so good that when you then go back and play other CRPGs, you're like, ugh. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that coming out. And it's what? March? Was it March or June? They gave a release date. Hang on, what did they actually say the release date was? BG3 release. August. Okay, none of those. Yeah, August 2023. Have you tried Wrath of the Righteous? I have, yes. Owlcat Studios, I think, is probably the best. I'd say it's between Larian and Owlcat Studios for CRPGs. I think that Owlcat could overtake Larian. It will have to see how Rogue Trader turns out. The problem that I have with Owlcat Studios, and it's not really their fault, it's more a fault of Pathfinder, and it's part of why I'm really looking forward to Rogue Trader as much. And it's a problem that I have with CRPGs just as a genre. They are the least user-friendly, like, new player experience thing I've ever fucking played.
The cockroaches will come
It's
again.
just like, okay.
They want the twist.
Ooh, fire rates. So, okay.
Shout his name.
Yeah, Obsidian is
Believe me,
GOAT
not a
as well.
cockroach.
But it's like, okay. You've not played this game before, correct? Correct. All right, cool. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick one of these 40 classes. Each class has like 6 subclasses. Pick one of these like 12 races. Okay, now pick 2 of these 300 feats. Pick one of these, and you haven't even like played this is just the character creation. It's like you've done nothing, and it just throws a million choices at you. Depending on the kind of player you are, some people will just be like, okay, oh, that was quite good. Some people just be like, oh, okay, whatever, and they just kind of like go past it. If you're someone who kind of likes to min-max, then you can very easily, and this is the problem I have with a lot of those games, because there's a path of exile player, I like min-maxing in video games. I end up in this really nasty cycle where I don't want to be inefficient from the get-go. So it's not even a situation of like, I'm intimidated, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to regret my choices later. So it kind of forces me into wanting to research the hell out of it. And then what ends up happening is whenever I go to play Wrath, because I've played both Wrath of the Righteous and Kingmaker, but whenever I feel like playing it, the first thing I do is like read a million spreadsheets, watch like an hour-long video, and that's just for me to be like, okay, so if I want to make a bard, then I guess I make this choice. And I'm like, but maybe I don't want to play a bard. Maybe I want to play a Scald. And it's like, oh my god, and then by the time I've gone through all of that, I've spent like 6 hours. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Just like, and it's an issue that a lot of those games really struggle with, and it's, you need to hook the player when you get that. Like, how often have you guys done this, right? You're kind of bored, you don't know what you want to play, so you go on Steam, you look through your library of like your 1,000 games that you own, and you're like, oh, let's do that. So you reinstall a game, and in the time it takes to re-download the game, open the launcher, and hit character creation, you just quit game. You're like, actually, I can't be bothered. You're just like, ugh, just, you know what? I can't be bothered. Screw this. You've that initial motivation you've lost in the time it took you to download and this and the, you know. And CRPGs struggle with that because you have to go through that process, and then you need to get through the ridiculous character creation. And for me, the single biggest thing that would improve the CRPG genre is better onboarding. Because the onboarding experience of those games is atrocious. So yeah. But that's why I'm really looking forward to Rogue Trader, because I know that Owlcat Studios is an amazing studio. I know they make good games. But it's a much more simplified system than Pathfinder. So I think that a lot of those frustrations that I've had with those games, because when I eventually get into playing them, I enjoy them. Like, when I eventually get through that initial, I have fun playing them, because they're good games made by good developers who care. And it's part of why I also really liked BG3. And this is actually probably another advantage that BG3 had in its early access. Because it was incomplete, I mean, they're still missing some of the classes. The decision paralysis is much more reduced, because you've only got to pick between like 4 or 5 classes. And because they're only going for the original player's handbook stuff, there's not that many subclasses. There's enough that you can make some meaningful roleplay choices. I also get very frustrated with, and this is something a lot of CRPGs do. Solasta had this problem. Solasta is another amazing game. And Solasta was like, we want to do a 100% exact copy of 5e. So then let's say you want to play like a ranger or something. And you're playing a class that has a favored enemy system. And it lets you pick enemies that aren't in the game. So it's like, you can pick that your favored enemy is, I don't know, Frost Giants. But Frost Giants don't actually exist in the video game, but they included Frost Giants as a choice because Frost Giants exist in the tabletop game, and they don't want to limit people's RP. But it's like, well, why did you do the thing? Because then I feel like an idiot that I picked the thing that doesn't exist in the video game. Oh, I get so annoyed by that stuff. And the amount of video games, CRPGs, especially at level 1, you've not even played the game, like, what is your favorite enemy? He's like, I don't know what enemies are in this game. Am I gonna regret this choice? Am I gonna get like 50 hours in, realize that Frost Giants don't exist, and be like, oh, that was a mistake. If I'd picked demons, because 90% of the enemies are demons, then, you know. Yeah, Neverwinter had that problem. Yeah. It's just... yeah. I think that a lot of role-playing games struggle with flavor. That... what am I trying to say? It's kind of... I think WoW had this problem for a really long time. Where when you have like racial abilities that are power, then there will be some players who pick their favorite race just because of the way it looks. So they'll just pick it regardless. But you're also going to get a lot of people who pick a race they don't like because that is the best race and does 10% more damage than the other race, right? I think any kind of racial or anything like that should be purely flavor and like for fun, and it shouldn't be power. You can have some utility stuff in there, where like you feel special that you have this thing that someone else doesn't have, so you're like, oh, I now feel special in this one scenario. But I think so many role-play heavy games fall into that problem. Half elf and 5e might as well be the default race, yeah. Well, it's the whole thing with like variant humans and feats in 5e. It's just like but it's a lot. There's a lot of weird baggage with trying to take certain types of games. I think PoE struggles with this to an extent as well, but like trying to take certain types of games and port them over into a digital space, and then it's like picking, well, where is like the fine point, where is this a good thing, where do you want choices to matter? It's like a lot of games really struggle with it in terms of, I think Diablo 3 compared to like Diablo 2 in terms of like respecing. I generally prefer games that let you experiment and like try things out. But then if there's absolutely no limit on it and there's no system that kind of encourages specialization, then you get into the problem where like on the one hand you have the extreme of you make a character, you know nothing about the game, you get like 50 hours in, you hit a wall, like you hit a difficulty wall, and the solution, like I'm sure you guys have had this, PoE has this problem massively with your first character. The solution to this hard wall you've hit is, yeah, delete your character and make a new one following this guide. And that's something I hate in video games. Like, I really hate that. When you have someone new, they're enjoying a game, they hit a wall, they ask for advice, and the advice is, yeah, that like 30, 40 hours, you wasted that, you fucked up, start again. But then you can have the other extreme of that, where you have something kind of like Diablo 3, where one wizard is the same as any wizard, and then they feel less special. So it's trying to find that middle ground of where you kind of want people to make some semi-permanent decisions, so they feel like, okay, this is a good thing, but they don't feel like they fucked up. Or in the scenario of like an MMO, like WoW tried to do this with Shadowlands with Covenants, where they kind of wanted players to have some fun flavor RP things, because there was also power attached to it. You'd have some extremes where someone would have like the same class with like 4 different covenants, or they'd make a class with 1 covenant, and then a patch would happen, and they'd be like, oh, I've made the wrong decision, you know. Oddly enough, I've never had that issue with PoE. I guess I still don't make so many bad ideas. It very much depends on what kind of player you are, and like how you feel about video games. And it also it depends on where you are on your like journey. This is going to sound really... Ooh, a magic ring. That's exciting. It depends where you are in your journey as a gamer. So I feel like some people might have never changed. Some people might always have had the exact same like taste all the way through. But for me, what I look for out of a gaming experience is very different now to 10 years ago. I pretty much only play single-player games now, whereas before I used to really enjoy MMOs, specifically like PvP in MMOs. Now if I play an MMO, I mostly play MMOs for like the raid-style stuff, because that's a very unique experience you can't really get outside of MMOs. But yeah, now mostly for me, I'm mostly looking for like unique, novel experiences. I play mostly indies. I really like stuff which kind of leans into the role play. And it's all about that like journey. Whereas before it'd kind of be like, okay, let's just boot up like 1 hour of shooting people in the face. I never play shooters now. I used to pretty much exclusively only play shooters. Anyway, my point being is, it depends what kind of gamer you are and where you are in that like kind of spectrum. I was talking about how I met a guy at a party recently who'd been playing World of Warcraft 10 years. And in Dragonflight was the first expansion he'd ever looked up a guide on like how to play his class. And he was like, yeah, it's really cool. Like I found this thing called like a rotation. And before he was just doing everything purely instinctively. He'd never downloaded an add-on. Now he's got like a DPS meter. And now he's having all this fun being this guy who's like, dude, look at my sick like AoE damage, you know. And I'm like, oh, watch out. Next thing you'll be on Warcraft logs. He's like, what's Warcraft logs? And I'm like, uh-oh. And I explained it to him. He's like, oh, that sounds interesting. I was like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? I've ruined this person. Yeah, I was like, oh, no, no, no. If anyone who doesn't know Warcraft logs, basically people download programs that it tracks their damage. So what you'll get people doing sometimes is they'll purposely like cheese fights, or they'll do fights incorrectly so they can pad their damage numbers as much as possible. So like, I don't know, if you had a scenario where like you have a boss that spawns ads and you're meant to kill the ads in a particular order, well maybe you don't do that at all, and what you purposely do is you let all the ads spawn so you can stack them on top of each other and then do like stupid degenerate damage. Even though you're making like everyone else's fight harder, you're then doing a bigger number than someone doing the fight correctly. So you have a better pass. Doom uptime, by the way. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that was really interesting to me that I'd spoken to someone who'd been playing WoW for 10 years, but had never looked up a guide or a rotation or anything. That was like a really interesting, like, oh, wow. Cordyceps is pretty good. Would rather have a Cordyceps than one of those. Final Fantasy side, people doing vlogs, gotten pretty good at filtering padding. I watched a really good video recently. There's a guy called Folding Ideas. He's got like 1 million subscribers, so you probably know who he is. But he had a video recently called "It's Rude to Be Bad at World of Warcraft," which I thought was really interesting. And I know that's something, I don't play Final Fantasy, but I've heard that apparently Final Fantasy is much better for new players. And you have less of people getting like angry with new players in 5-mans and dungeons and stuff. And I've definitely seen people complain about that. Like, they want to try, like, tanking. But they're like, I think Mythic Plus probably made that worse. Like, but they want to try tanking, but they're like, oh, I don't know the most optimal route to take this dungeon or this, that, and the other. So people get so intimidated they never try it. Which I think is really interesting. But yeah. How did we get onto this? Something about what you find fun in games. Oh yeah, someone said that they didn't mind like deleting their characters in PoE. Yeah. Good day, fellas. How was Christmas? My Christmas was pretty shit, to be honest. I hope you guys had a better Christmas than me. Yeah, mine was very not a good vibe, but I hope you guys had a good one. It's not bad on average. I'd say there's still plenty of log monies in an in-game environment. Rooster gave up on Lost Ark. Very much new player experience issue. Being bad at raids means you're wasting everyone's time. The game promotes efficient time usage. Yeah. I think the most interesting thing about that video, which was something that I really like agreed with and I understood. I'll open up Paint quickly just to show you a demonstration. And anyone who's ever played an MMO will know exactly what I'm talking about. And you will have experienced this one for one. So you'll have a lot of games. If you have like a 5-man dungeon or whatever, Ryan, if you're still there, you'll definitely know what we're talking about here. Okay. So this is the boss, right? This is the entrance, and this is the path. Now, there are the exact same enemies on either end. Doesn't matter which side you take. The enemies are exactly the same. What tends to happen very quickly is players will decide that the correct way, or the optimal way, is everyone just goes right. Or everyone just goes left. But, like, it's like, if you're in this dungeon, you go right. And everyone just does that. There's no communication. There's no saying anything. It's just, yeah, we go right. Right is obviously the correct way to go. So if you're a new person who's never done this before, right, and you go left, people will be like, why the fuck did you go left? Are you stupid? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you why have you gone left? Are you dumb? Like, what? We go right. And it doesn't matter. It's completely, it doesn't matter at all. But it's this learned behavior, and so much of MMOs is just lots and lots of little things like that, which actually make the new player experience. Even if you're not a new player, like you've missed a patch. Like for example, I really wanted to give Dragonflight a chance, because I have a lot of friends who play WoW, and they're like, actually, Dragonflight's a really good expansion. But because I've been caring for my mother and my grandmother, I missed the launch entirely. And recently I thought, oh, maybe I should pick it up. I could maybe just like level a character, see if it's any good or whatever. But I'm like, oh, do I really want to join a month late? And joining a month late, it doesn't matter. It's nothing. But I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to like go through just that experience and that whole thing, because I would most likely be like tanking, doing like Mythic Plus, doing 5-mans, and like, do I want to go? Oh, this is a choice. But do I want to go through that whole thing? Like, it has to be Flamethrower Trap or Seismic Trap. Let's be real. What? Oh, I should use my other stuff. I'll still display my nose. What's that? With good mind, there are many possibilities. Next time there are few. I mean, we're using Fire Trap. Should we just lean into the fire meme? Screw it.
You have claimed the move. Why are you still standing?
Probably gonna regret that. Right, we'll grab that, then we'll grab that. Tank anxiety is already a huge thing that people ain't for not having studied the dungeon beforehand. Yeah. And there's a lot of that. So, a lot of fun is learning, like, what the new bosses and stuff do. And this very much depends on, like, what sort of group you have and what sort of friends you have. And obviously, it's the whole thing of, like, are you playing with randoms? Are you playing with a predefined group? Ideally, you'd find people who have, like, similar wants to you. But it's like, okay, if you're going into, would you ever go into a raid blind? Would you ever go into a 5-man blind? Some people would love the idea of going into some of that content, not knowing anything and learning as they play. Other people will be like, wait, you're going to waste my time because you've not bothered to watch this guide? And no one's really wrong. Like, both sides. The only times that that's a problem is if, like, you've agreed, like, everyone's going to watch a guide, and then someone doesn't, then that's really annoying. I've been in that scenario before where it's like, okay, you're doing an organized group. We've all agreed that we're all going to, like, put the effort in, and then you've not bothered. That annoys the hell out of me. But anyway, yeah. And avoiding a lot of that sort of stuff is why I mostly play a lot of single-player games these days. I guess it's Ruthless. Ruthless is... It's different. It's kind of relevant to this whole thing we're talking about. Like, it depends what you're looking for. It's a much, much, much slower experience. I might actually pick that up. Okay, so I end up picking up a Val Corsica. I don't think I've encountered a single Val side area, actually, now that I think about it. So it's quite an interesting experience. You think it's too easy? It's just RNG. Val areas don't exist. Oh, do they not? Oh. Where do you get fragments and stuff from then? Oh god, getting Vol gems, Alva? Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god, getting Vol gems is gonna be awful. Alva Temple is the best way to get Vol. Oh my god, it's a good thing I didn't want to play Vol Corsicaro. I need to move my hat back on my character. I did ask you what's that spreadsheet. Oh my god. It's kind of nice these things need the symbols anyway. I mean, yeah, but like... Oh, I think I need to do this quest, actually. I think they made this quest, like, give a gem or something. Have I tried it yet? No. No, I played, like, an hour of just normal SSF. And then I made Ruthless. So I've not even pressed the button. Ooh, rat riding. Two penetrating quivers? Yo. Big. Right, so I need to run back to the marketplace to get the other half of the thingamagiggy to give to my boy Fairgraves. I think I've done this quest literally once. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. It's usually behind the waypoint. Tucked around, like, the opposite of where the Battlefronts thing is, if I remember correctly. There you go. Look at me. Eh? Having a vague knowledge of a game I've put more time into than any other video game ever. I'm so cool. Save the portal scroll. Very important. A world first. Never seen before lore.
Now there's a familiar face. Before you say anything, yes, I did try to kill you. Inexcusable. I allowed pragmatism to overcome honor in a moment of desperation. Please accept my deepest apologies. What do you say?
More hours than Battle Brothers, unfortunately.
Marvelous.
I wish Battle Brothers was my most played video game. Oh, I'd be so intelligent. I don't really play much video games, to be honest, these days. Like, in the last... Since last League, I've not really played anything. I like, literally nothing. I did, like, a week or two of, messing around in WoW. And then I went full carer, my mother and my grandmother. And then... me playing Ruthless, like, a week in is, yeah, the first stuff I've played. I really wanted to play Darktide, but Fat Shark did Fat Shark and made a bad vibe. Well, they made a game with amazing gameplay, terrible progression, and botched servers. So hopefully Darktide will be a good game in like 6 months to a year, which is what happened with Vermintide and Vermintide 2. Pentiment, I really want to play. I was actually thinking about doing a Pentiment stream today instead of Ruthless, but I thought I should get a Ruthless episode up to put up on the YouTubes. Yeah, I think I might save Pentiment as an off stream. I don't know, but yeah, Pentiment was my most anticipated game, but then it came out. Cyberpunk first time. I really enjoyed Cyberpunk. I played Cyberpunk at launch and enjoyed it, and since then it's had a lot of improvements.
Wondrous.
Actually, that's the point as well. It's on... I don't know, when does the Steam sale end? Like the 2nd or the 5th of Jan? But yeah, Pentiment on sale is only like £10. I haven't actually bought it yet. I need to buy it.
Now, for a little amateur living, with the squeeze of the plum life so into the decanter.
Oh, Fairgraves. If I remember correctly, this doesn't go too well.
Moves the juice so swiftly from material to
So I think this one is a great game. I would have replayed it when they did the latest patch, but then they announced they're getting there's the new DLC coming, and I'm like, well, I may as well wait and then do a playthrough when the DLC came out. I had that issue with Witcher. I really wanted to do a Witcher 3 playthrough, but then the next gen version, which has been delayed for like 2 years or whatever. Just give a raring. No, just a blue ring. Okay. So because the Witcher 3 next gen like only just came out now, there were 2 years where I wanted to play it, but I'm like, I'm not going to replay it. I'll wait for the next gen. So I will now replay that at some point recently.
Poor Fairgraves. Your plans just don't end well.
And that's what I would be doing. That's actually a littering. Holy wow. Lightning res, and that's like actually big. Hey, Fleets. Give me that lightning res. Let's do a little stash. Let's go do my lab. Upcoming DLC. It's not so much FOMO, it's more just kind of like... I had this issue with Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima was probably my favorite game that year. And I think I played it like 4 times or something before the DLC came out. And I played it so much that by the time DLC came out, I'd kind of like exhausted myself on it. So for single player, like story-based games, unless it's a game with like, I don't know, like Dragon Age Origins, where you can have like completely vastly different playthroughs, I try not to, if I know there's like a massive update coming, I try not to like exhaust it before the update. Happy Holidays is your first run through the new league? Yes, it is. I've been doing little hour and a half long episodes that I've been uploading on my YouTube. And this is still my first character of Ruthless and basically the new league. There's some wisdom scroll. I joined the league late as well. It's also worth mentioning. Can blocks your skills, and yeah, it's because of Forbidden Sanctum. I had this conversation with Chris before, and he looked at me like I was an idiot. And I don't feel like this was the dumbest thing I've ever said. I think considering how much of Path of Exile, how much of its marketing is built around content creation, I find it really annoying that they keep putting important like UI elements in the middle of the screen where streamers tend to put their cameras and stuff. And I'm not saying that like you have to make your game optimal around like where streamers like put a cam, but maybe think about it a little bit. So yeah, because you've got this massive thing here, if you have your cam here, it blocks the resolve meter. So I ended up just shoving it here. So it annoys me. I have it constantly with a lot of Paradox games, so they tend to get major updates every few months. Every time next one gets announced, the game comes to be unplayable till then. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
The weary traveler draws close to the end.
I wish it was directly above. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of ways that it could be smaller or just somewhere else, or just give us some options to, like, you know.
You are relentless.
He swiped my flamethrower tracks. That's rude. Oh, do you want to hear something ridiculous that happened to me on Boxing Day? I thought this was, like, absolutely insane. I'm curious if we have anyone who has worked or currently does work in hospitality, your opinions on this. Okay, so. I enjoy a walk. I try and do a walk every day. On Boxing Day, I thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to walk up to... there's a place called Wimbledon Common. Anyone who knows Southwest London will know it. Basically like a big park area. I'll walk up to Wimbledon Common, but before I do that, I will get a coffee in Wimbledon Village, which is this very posh little area near where the Common is. There's a pub there, which does really good coffee. So I thought, I'll go to the pub. I'll get myself a coffee, have a little sip, warm myself up, and then I'll go on my nice walk in the woods, right? So obviously it's Boxing Day, so the pub is rammed. It's really full. I waited at the bar for 20 minutes. I ordered an oat flat white, because I don't drink normal milk. The guy says, cool, no worries. He starts making it. And then his manager comes up to him and says, actually, Mr. Buffalo, actually, we're only serving coffees to people with a booking. So if you want to get an alcoholic drink, you can. But sorry, we can't serve you a coffee. Keep in mind, the guy had already taken my order and started making the coffee. Right? So he took my order and he's like, no, sorry, only people with a booking. After I'd waited there 20 minutes. So I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't get an alcoholic drink because I didn't want an alcoholic drink. I wanted a coffee. So I'm like, fine. I'll go somewhere else. I was really annoyed. But I'm like, fine. I'll go somewhere else. So there's like a little Italian... Okay, this is also a random side tangent. And I'm curious to know your guys' take on this. There are a lot of very Italian restaurants, and I'm sure this is the same in lots of parts of the world, but there's lots of very Italian restaurants and cafes in London owned by exceptionally non-Italian people, which is fine, but I always find it interesting that their whole place is, like, so obnoxiously Italian. So what I mean is, it's not like I'm saying you can't have an Italian restaurant if you're not Italian. But, like, when your entire decor and everything is just screams, I'm so Italian, and you change your name to something which sounds slightly more Italian. Like, oh, I'm Mario, and it's like, mate, we know you're not called Mario. Like, what's your actual name? But anyway, right. So there's this little Italian cafe
When the time comes to strike, an emperor strikes
that
without
I've never been in before, but it always seemed quite busy. So I thought, you know what? Since I couldn't get the coffee in the other place, well, that's actually pretty good. Kite shield, get that all res, pretty nice. What I'll do, since I couldn't get a coffee there, I'll get a coffee at Mario's, right? So I'm waiting at the counter. I walk in, it's looking busy. That's a good start. When you go in somewhere and it's busy, it's like, ooh, this is probably decent. So I'm waiting at the counter, and there are 3 wait staff just like blocking the counter. And there's this really old, grumpy, like 60-year-old Polish guy, Mario, obviously in this scenario, who's like shouting at his waitstaff or blocking the counter. So this guy is like full on like screaming at his waitstaff for a good like 5 minutes about how they're blocking the counter for customers. Me in this scenario. So it takes me probably about, realistically, maybe 10 minutes tops. Maybe like more like maybe like 7 or 8 minutes to get to the front. So I'm like, hey. And while I'm there, I'm looking at his little, he's got like a little counter with some baked goodies. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get myself, yeah, some quite nice looking little muffins. I'll have a oat flat white and a muffin, please. And he says, to go. And I'm like, no, I'd like to sit outside if that's okay. You can't order here if you want to sit outside. And I'm like, excuse me? He says, if you want to sit at a table, you need to sit and wait one of my waiters to come to you, they will then take your order. I only accept orders at the counters from people who want takeout. Is that weird? I feel like that's weird. I feel like at that point he's just making steps. Like, I've waited here. I'm here, I've given you my order. So you want me to now go and sit down over there, outside, wait for one of your members of staff to come take my order, and then give you... Because he's the only guy making drinks. It's not like there's another kitchen, it's just him. Right? So then someone else will come. Right? So I'm like... Okay. Now, if I hadn't already, like, waited in one place, because someone said I would have bossed off seeing him have a meltdown scream at staff, right? And I had not already waited, because by the time I'd gone to the place and walked, I've spent, like, 30 minutes now trying to get a coffee. I would have immediately gone somewhere else, because I don't like it when people are rude to their staff, anyway. So I'm like, okay, fine. So in the time it took me to, have this conversation with this guy, right? The table I wanted outside, someone else had taken it. So there then weren't any tables outside. So I took a table inside. And then he says, no, no, no. You can only sit inside if you're having food. And it's like, my guy, I just want a coffee. And I'm like, I'm getting a muffin. Does that count as food? And he got, like, angry that I was then trying to talk to him that, like, a muffin is food. It was the whole thing. Eventually, he let me... He let me order. So eventually I then got to sit inside. I then had to wait 5 minutes for this poor girl that I just watched get screamed at by him come. She took my order. She made a... You know, the coffee I got when I eventually got it was really nice. It reminded me a little bit of, you know that Seinfeld episode with the soup Nazi? It was very much that kind of energy. But the thing which made it even better, right? So while I'm then, like, waiting for my coffee and stuff, right? And my muffin. A couple more people walked in to, the cafe. The first thing he says when they walk in isn't like, you know, Merry Christmas or what can I get you or whatever. The first thing he does is like, if you want to sit there, you need to be ordering food. Otherwise, you need to go outside. A lot of people just turned around and just walked out. Now, I don't know if it's scenario because it's Boxing Day and he's got a lot of trade. He's like, I don't need your money. But for me, if I worked in a hospitality business, I feel like I kind of want my customers to be like, I had a good experience. I'll come back here again. Because I'm never going back there again. Because the guy was a dickhead. So I'm never going to go back there again. And I quite regularly go walking in that part of London, right? So he made a good coffee. It was a very good coffee. It was probably one of the best coffees I've had in the last few weeks. But I'm not going to go back there and deal with him. You know. Anyway, but yeah. You have to be a regular for business to give a shit about you? I mean... That might be true in a lot of places, but I feel like that's not a good system. I feel like that's not a good system to getting regulars. You know. If you want to get a regular market, you kind of need to win people over. And also, it cost me like £9 or something. Like, I paid like £9 for a coffee and a muffin, which is ridiculous. Like, it would have been cheaper for me to have gone to a Starbucks. Like, when it's cheaper for you to go to a Starbucks, you know that, like, nah, this is...
Be singular of purpose.
This is why you bring a traveler mug thermos on your walk. But the problem that I have is I really want an espresso machine. But espresso is really... like, getting a proper espresso machine is really expensive. Oh, this is actually... no, this is tangentially related. This is quite funny, actually. This is a fork handles sort of thing. So, ooh, 2 rares? Okay, so,
before your emperor, you are worthy.
whoa, look at that. 2 more treasure keys, dude. 4 transmutes? Wow. Big gains. Biggest of gains. Okay.
For this is the ending that we all deserve.
So this is mildly amusing.
Need not be present to make
So, about 2 months ago, I took my mum for a walk. So my mum's diabetic, and she doesn't get out enough. So whenever I go on my walks, I always try and like encourage her, like, hey, stream me off, we can go for a walk, whatever. And normally she says no, but this one time she said yes. So we went on a walk, and then we sat down, and we got a coffee. And I just said in passing, like, oh, I really want to get an espresso machine, but they're really expensive. So, you know, maybe at some point, you know, in the next 5 years, you know what I would like? I would like an espresso machine. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. So then at Christmas, bless her, she was like, I went to the dump, right? And because she had something she had to take to the dump, and she saw an espresso machine at the dump, so she picked up to give it to me. Now, the slight problem that happened in communication, I guess this just goes to show how good branding is. When I said that I wanted an espresso machine, she thought I said Nespresso. So I got a broken Nespresso machine. So 1, it didn't work, so it was a shit gift because it didn't fucking work. But 2, it's fucking Nespresso. I don't want a fucking Nespresso machine. Fuck Nespresso. I want espresso. If anyone who doesn't know the difference, Nespresso is shitty Nestle little fucking capsule crap. You know. Whereas I want to like pour my own shots, you know. It is the thought that, you know, it's the thought that counts. But that it was a particularly kind of like shit gift because one it didn't work. That's a lot of lightning damage. So that's like it's pretty shit on the fact that like it's defunct. Can we have an espresso machine? We have espresso. Yeah, exactly. So when it's a shit gift, in fact, it doesn't function. And generally, like that's something that you kind of a functioning. If you gift someone a machine, it should function. And 2, it was completely the wrong thing, you know. To put this in gamer terms, you know, it'd be like someone wanting a PlayStation 5. And bless them, their grandmother gets them like a PlayStation 1. And you can't really complain. Because it's not their fault, but you're like, oh, and then you gotta be like, oh, thanks. A broken PS1. Thank you, that is true. A broken PS1. You're like, oh, thanks. Great. I can use this for fucking something. It's an Xbox One, yeah. A broken Xbox One. A broken Sega Dreamcast. You're like, oh, cool. But the thing which was funny about it, really funny about it, she's like, no, but like it comes with descaler. A broken PS1 and a soldering iron. Is when she picked up from the dump, whoever dumped it, they dumped it because it was broken, but they also dumped it with like the Nespresso descaler kits. And when I'm like, oh, it doesn't work, she's like, well, at least you've got a descaler kit, though. And I'm like,
Whoever built this was
right, but like, I don't need a descaler kit for a machine that I don't want. That doesn't work. Because for that descaler kit to then be worth anything to me, I would then have to go and buy an actual Nespresso machine. So I would then have to buy a machine that I didn't want to use their specific descaler kit for. It was like, cool. Are you sure that wasn't a passive aggressive gift? No. My mum isn't the best at Christmas gifts. She actually, this is actually also quite funny. My mum, bless her, she did get me some quite funny gifts this year. I don't know if this cable's going to be long enough. This you might find very funny. You can probably see this in the background here. Hey, I need to move this cable. You'll enjoy this. Okay. So, my mum is one of those people she's really into, like, aromatherapy oils and whatever. So she got me this, which is, you know, one of these little aromatherapy silly things. You put, like, an oil and water in it. You press the button. A little light comes on. And some mist comes out the top, right? Not really my thing, but, you know, she's into it. And she's like, no, it's good because, like, you know, it's got a nice little... You can just use it as a lamp, Jake. And I'm like, okay. So this is just, like, some cheap plastic, right? This is just some cheap plastic. You can't really see because the light is on. If I turn the light off... cycle through all the light. I can just unplug it. That works better. Okay, so it's, you know, it's just some not very nice, cheap, nasty plastic, but it's got this ceramic lid, right? It's got this little ceramic lid. You put the lid on it, and then it looks not terrible, right? And she's like, I know it's not really your thing, but you can always just use it as like a nice little like atmospheric lamp. And I'm like, okay. Would anyone like to guess what the slight design flaw of this this system is? Okay, would anyone like to guess the very slight design flaw before I show the design flaw of this very cool, very thoughtful Christmas gift? The lid blocks the light. Yeah, okay, so plug it in. Put on the nice little glowy lamp. Put on the ceramic lid. Can you see the slight design flaw? Who made this? Who designed this? Who like... GGG? Possibly. Anyway, so yeah. So that was, yeah. Yeah. Some guy bought them in bulk from Alibaba. Yeah, that was my, my Christmas gifts. This is a buff. Yeah. What do you got? You guys get any good Christmas presents this year? Did you guys get anything better than a broken espresso machine and a lamp that doesn't work with its ceramic cover? A ceramic lamp that doesn't function as a lamp because it's not fucking opaque. And then gave me the flu. That's nice. I know a lot of people who have really bad flu and like COVID at the moment. Oh, I never actually picked up my thing. I want the regen. I think I want the damage. Yeah. Is good. Yeah, let's get the damage. Thank you very much for the 12 months, Perry. That's exceptionally kind of you. In response to me telling people trying to cut down on drinking, all I received was alcohol. Eesh. Yeah, that's yeah. Did they at least get you like anything nice? Were you at least getting, like, good quality? Like, oh, here's some, I don't know, Grey Goose. Or was it like, here's some Smirnoff Ice? And you're like, oh, cheers. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have that problem. They're like, hey, I'm trying to, like, cut back on alcohol. I'm trying to stop smoking. I'm trying to lose weight. And they're like, would you like 50 boxes of chocolate? And you're like, okay. Thank you. Half my ran in the run up to car doing her own way, and then got it in front of me. Yeah, that's really terrible. Yeah, a friend of mine, she has just had COVID for the 3rd time. She just got over it like 2 days before Christmas, and she's currently in bed with a chest infection. So it's like, that's... I had a really bad chest infection about a month ago. It started off as laryngitis, but it then turned into a chest infection. I was at a wedding, and the bride had laryngitis. And of course, at a wedding, like, you know, you're like, oh, hey, hugging, and everyone's like, obviously congratulating the bride and everything. So I got really sick. A couple other people got really sick. But there's not really much you can do about that, you know. Because you can't just be like, well, the bride just won't come. You can't be like, it's fine, just don't go to your own wedding, you know. Lactose intolerant, trying to lose weight, not meant to have any dark chocolate. Got given a lot of milk chocolate. I mean, at least it's not dark chocolate. Oh, wait, any okay, I can't read. That's Thought the immune system gets better after being infected. Has somebody get it 3 times? Because it mutates. It's like, how do you get the cold more than once? So you just get the different mutations. I know a lot of people who've had it multiple times. Why not call off their wedding? Because wedding venues are really expensive, and like caterers and everything. Right. Have we got any married people in chat? How much does your wedding cost? Like, if you like, it sucks. You'd rather, you know, not be sick, but you can't. You know, there's nothing you can do unless you want to like shell out another 15k or whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because not only would you lose out on your booking and like your catering and everything, but you then be back on a waiting list if you want to keep it at that thing, and then you also have the issue that like everyone has booked their time off work and all this, that, and the other. You've booked off your time off work, so then there'll be people who could make the first one, couldn't make the second. One thing actually, which I thought was really bullshit, at that wedding though, the bar wasn't accepting cash. Who doesn't accept cash? Because I purposely took some money out. So I'm like, this is going to be my budget for the night. I'm only going to spend this. And they wouldn't take my cash. There was another guy who took out like 300 quid because he was going to like get a couple of rounds for people in and stuff. And they just wouldn't take it. And it's like, what? And it wasn't because like they had a no cash policy. It's because they just couldn't be bothered. They were like, we don't want to deal with it. They even said like, I don't really want to be dealing with cash. It's like, what? You just don't want to be dealing with it. Sorry, would it inconvenience you for me to give you cash? Well, you know, because then they'd have to deal with change and it'd be a whole thing. Like, oh, you know. So that really annoyed me. Get married in March 2023, about $10K. Yeah. I mean, that's, to me, that's the mad thing, is you'll be like, oh, it's not that much, it's only 10K. But no, weddings are very expensive. Very, very expensive. Massive industry. Such a drag doing one's job. I mean, to be fair, as someone with a very difficult job, it can be a drag doing your job sometimes. That is fair. I wonder if farming Dominus is ever worth it, because you got like all the mini bosses. Because there was the whole thing about like act bosses were meant to be like crazy buffed. I wonder if that's like a thing. Ooh. Nice hat, thank you.
Have you ever seen the true face of God, exile?
3 linked booties. I don't think I've seen any 4 linked items yet. Phase 1 down. Thank you very much for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate you.
This world is an illusion, exile.
suppose I should delve. I imagine a lot of people don't bother with delve anymore. I mean, there's so much in Path of Exile, it's very easy to just kind of, like, forget about half the game. Like, I mean, Heist is huge content. But raise your hand if you've heisted. Like, one person. Oh, come on, Dominus. One portal, one wisdom? Yeah. I guess that probably answers my, is it worth farming Dominus this league? Hmm. Let's go Def Tarke stream. Shout out to the guy who can't hear me. Hope you're doing well, Cardia. You can't hear me. I am very aware of Heist, so I would like to play again. Oh. Yeah, in a private league, it's very good to have one or two like dedicated heisters. Then everyone just feeds them with the heist stuff, and then you get a source of like alt quality gems and stuff. Question. This might be a spoiler. Would it be stupid? Yes. Because this is one of my stupid ideas. And I haven't looked into the logistics of this. Because I don't know what, like, the minimums are. Would it be stupid to make a GoFundMe 65p to buy a Kit Kat? Because I was watching a video on GoFundMe scams and, like, Kickstarter scams. And I thought it would be quite funny to do, like, the lowest budget, like, GoFundMe or Kickstarter possible. And then delaying it. So it's kind of like, you do, like, a 65p Kit Kat or whatever. And then you eventually, like... So, like, it would be, like, I would make, like, it would be... For 65p, I will get a, I'll buy a Kit Kat and make a video of me eating the Kit Kat. And then it's like, I would assume that it would... I would hope that someone in my audience would be able to afford 65p. But then I would, like, delay making the Kit Kat video. Like, I would keep coming up with, like, reasons why, like, logistics. Because you know how you get all these bullshits. And I would eventually make the video. But I just thought it could be quite funny to, like, delay that and be, like, doing little updates, like... Or we're getting close to, like, you know, picture of, like, a Kit Kat in a supermarket. Like, we got this guy who's going to the moon. But then, like, actually my phone's died. And then just, like, just really drag it out. But I would eventually I would make a video eating... Well, only if I met the budget. Because I don't know if I would meet the budget. But, I thought that could be quite funny. Yeah. Half a quid. I was also thinking about making a sandwich. I thought that could be a good one as well. Because then you could have a whole thing of like, yeah, so like we've got the bread, we've not got the filling, and then like finally we get the filling, but now the bread has gone off. A Kit Kat 65p. I think the smallest Kit Kat is 65p. I mean, due to inflation, it's probably not. It's probably more like £3. Funny as a Kickstarter, GoFundMe could have bad taste. That's a good point. Should we try and do this? Let's try and do this. Hang on, that does. Okay. Kickstarter. Login. Sign up. Okay. Okay. Name. Tarke. Can you even eat a sandwich? Well, we'll find out. Okay. Start a project. Start a project. Oh. First off, let's get you selected. Okay. Is this journalism? Film and video? Food? Oh, or is it art? We've already hit our first barrier. Art? All of the above. Art? I mean, it's food, lol. Journal? I'm kind of feeling like it's, for me, it's almost theatre as well. Okay, is it better if it's a Kit Kat or a sandwich? I think maybe a sandwich. Because we need to source... Okay, it's a peanut butter sandwich. We need to source peanut butter. Should be a Twix. That's funny. It's funny because originally I thought Twix. I think a sandwich. I think it should be a sandwich. And I'm going to call it journalism. Video. Ah, we can have multiple. Haha. Select one or more. Wait, what? Journalism video, okay. Additional, okay. Food. Bacon? Wait, why is bacon its own thing? Small batch. Yeah. Okay. So it's gonna go on this multi-quickly for location, which I was like put in my address. That's your country. Okay, United Kingdom. I believe United Kingdom can okay. Video project. Okay. Projects must create something to share with others. So we're going to create and we're going to share a video. So that is true. Projects must be honest and clearly presented. True. Projects cannot fundraise for charity. There will be no charity. Projects cannot offer equity. You are getting nothing from this. Projects cannot involve prohibited items. Okay, got it. Okay. Rewards. Oh, I need to give people rewards. Name your project. Upload an image or video. And establish your campaign details. I mean, the reward is the video. The reward is the video. Yeah. Okay, basics. Let's do this. Title. Tarke makes a sandwich. Subtitles. I would like you to provide me with the means to provide you with a video of me making and eating a sandwich. Is that fair? Oh, wait, have I spelt sandwich wrong? Sandwich. Oh, there's no H. Dyslexic, by the way. Is that fair? Journalism, video, food, small batch. We're not making like lots. It's a small batch. I would like you to provide me with the means to provide you with a video of me making the exact. I think that's fair. I think it's clear. I want to make a sandwich. Maybe. I want to have a sandwich. Oh, Tarke wants to have a sandwich, maybe. Tarke wants to have a sandwich. Yeah. I think that's... Yeah, Tarke wants... Maybe just Tarke wants a sandwich. This is short and sweet. Short and sweet. I want a sandwich. Subtitle, I'd like you to provide me the means to provide you the video of me making the sandwich. Cool. Okay. Project location. Let me do this on the other monitor real quick. Tarke needs a sandwich. That might be charity. It needs to be about video. Okay. Tarke wants to be a sandwich. Tarke wants to make a sandwich video. How's that? Was that better? Yeah? Okay. I think that's good. Let me just quickly go to the location. Enter the location that best describes where your project is. I mean, it's London. It's London, mate. Project image. It must be a JPEG, PNG, GIF. What the fuck is a TIFF or bump? No larger than 200 MB. We need an image. Okay, let's get in paint. That's really bright. Okay, let's make this black. It's better. Sorry for the flashbang. Are we keeping the hat? I feel like the hat might confuse things. Let's turn the hat off for now. Okay, let's make a plate. Okay. Just a small circle within that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And then, I'm feeling it's gonna be like a blue plate. Does that look like a plate? And then, Okay. Okay. No. It should be one of these. Rounded. There we go. There we go. And then we're gonna do nice diagonal. Yeah. Ah, I can see that there's a slight problem here. Okay, no, we can fix this. We can fix this with the art. Okay, we do that. Okay, I am a genius. We do that. No. Hang on. Do that. Yeah. We do that. Yes. Are we seeing... Does that look sort of like a sandwich? Let's do like a slightly darker... No. Yeah? What even is that? It's a sandwich cut diagonal. Okay, no. This is too complicated. Make a bite. No. We've. Hang on. Hang on. Let's do one of these. Let's get some full screen. Let's do some print screen. Yeah. And then, wait. We're gonna have an issue. Because I'm not on this monitor. Because I can't print, because I'm not on my monitor. Because if I print screen that, I'm not in that. So what I need to do is I need to print screen the stream. I need the stream at high quality. And I need to look hungrily at that. Maybe a hand. Okay, that might be it. Let me try that. This might work. Oh, that might be it. That might be it. Let me hit it with one of these. Give it one of these. I think that's it. I think that might be it. Do we add text? I think that says it all, does it not? I think that says it all. Does it need anything else? I don't think it does. Help me, help you. I think that's it. No, that's not what to do. Okay. Okay, back to Path of Exile for a second. Give me 1 second. Sandwich. It's going. It's processing. That's it. That's it. That's it. Don't need a video. Funding goal. Set an achievable goal that needs to complete your project. Funding is all or nothing. If you don't meet your goal, you won't receive any money. Okay, so how much is a loaf of bread in the UK? £1.37. Here's my calculator. Now let's do this on screen. Do this ethically. Everyone can see. This will get Notepad going, so people can see like the accounts. So, average loaf of bread UK, £1.37. Okay, 1.37. Okay, plus. How much is a jar of crunchy peanut butter in the UK? How much peanut butter? Okay, so we just average price of peanut butter. The UK. Is it £1.09 or £2.49? I don't need 399. Just the average price. Maybe just say peanut butter. Maybe the jar is what is throwing it. How much is peanut butter in the UK? What's the average? Use the whole loaf of bread. I mean, I can't. Okay, Rex. Where am I going to go and buy a singular slice of bread? Where can I get bread singles? Where am I meant to buy bread singles? Excuse me. I like a single Marlboro Light and a single slice of bread. Bread singles. Get away from these one ciabatta from Morrison's Bakery. Nut butter. Go on. How much is this thing is nut butter? Some pack £3.50, £3, £2.50, £1.45, £1.45. I think £1.45. £2.82. Nut butter. £1.45. I don't need butter. Some people do butter and peanut butter. I think that's weird. Am I pricing the cost? I need a spreading implement. Am I providing my own knife? I'm going to provide my own knife. £2.82. Okay, so now I need to work out their taxes. Use our calculator, total cost including taxes and fees. Okay. So I need £2.82. No. 2.82. £32? What? %. Someone who's good at maths. What's 5%? To add 5%, how much do I actually need? What is it, like £3? I think with fees, it's probably going to be like £3, maybe £3.50. We say £3.50 with fees. Divide by 20 and add it. What? Just someone tell me how much, with their 5% fees. What do we... I've overcomplicated this. 105? They're having £1.05 in fees? 5% of £2.82 is not £1.05. I'm gonna say, look, I'm gonna say £3.50 with fees. So, I don't need a video, I need... Oh, can I not do points? Oh, so then it's gonna be... Well, in that case, I can't do point. That's the problem. I can't do pennies. Were you saying £3? Yeah, £3. Target launch date optional. I mean, I just do it today, no? Wait. Select a date in the future. Okay, it's gonna launch tomorrow then. Okay. Fixed number, campaign duration. Set time for your campaign. You won't be able to change this after you launch. Ooh. Campaigns that last 30 days or less. Okay. 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 How long? Because £3 is quite a lot. number of days. Are we going to do the full 30? Or are we going to do less? Maybe a week. We give it a week? Or should we give it a month? Because I'm going to be really looking forward to that sandwich if it's a month of anticipation. This is all in the YouTube video, by the way, for today's update. This has definitely dragged on longer than... I should have probably ended that. 7 days? I think 7 days is probably good. A week duration won't let you make enough. You should... Yeah. But if it's a year, then it's going to be locked. The £3 is going to be locked. I won't be able to reach my £3. What if I need a sandwich within a year's time? If you do GoFundMe, you'll get your partial funds if you don't fully hit the goal, by the way. Yeah. I mean, £3 is quite optimistic. There's probably £3 in your couch. I've looked, there isn't. Okay. I'm going to say... What's, if we got 10p a day... 10p times by 30 is £3, correct? Yeah. Okay, if it's 30, then we just need to get 10 pennies a day. I think we could do that. Okay. Rewards. I don't know what the rewards are going to be. Oh, no. Maybe the rewards, they get to pick how the sandwich is sliced. The biggest backer gets like some input on how it's sliced. I don't know if you can do that. Do you need to count tax? Most creators offer 3 to 10 reward tiers, which can be physical items or special experiences. Make sure to set reasonable. Example, a copy of what